Alright guys, on this episode of Oli Paints, we've got a pearl white. Watch this before you spray a pearl white because I promise you it's going to benefit you. Alright, like I say, we have a pearl white. I know this really doesn't look pearl white, but it is. This is Chrysler code PWD. We're going to just kind of run through the steps on how I'm going to color match this. I do not currently have a spray out for this color, so we're going to have to make one of those. The job that I'm doing is I've got this little lower valance. I have a wheel flare right here. It did have a little bit of damage on it. I got that fixed up with some UV. And then a front bumper repair. This bumper is in rough shape. Repair is on this side, and unfortunately it does have cracked paint pretty much throughout the rest of the cover that customer declined to have fixed, so we're just fixing that edge. But I will put you guys on my noggin and kind of run you through how I make my spray out card for this and how I match this color, because their 3-stage white isn't all that bad. There are some tricks that I'm going to show you though that will make your life a lot easier. And if you're doing this DIY, a 10 out of 10, at least recommend getting the cardboard or paper spray out cards, and I'll show you how to make a letdown panel. It's basically telling you how many coats of pearl you need to match the vehicle that you're trying to spray. Without doing that, you can't just spray pearl over a bumper and think that it's going to match. It's either going to be too bright or too yellow, or it's just going to look terrible. So follow this kind of little guide that I'm going to give you here to make that letdown panel, and that'll get you as close as you could possibly get to matching your car. So let's get into it. All right, well, we're gonna just go ahead and jump right into this. Basically, because that bumper is repaired right in this corner, this is the fender that I want to match, right? So I'm gonna clean this off with some glass cleaner real quick, and then we're gonna sand and polish a spot on this 3000 grit. I basically just need to take 3000 grit to this, remove any kind of swirls or anything. You just need to give yourself a clear view of what you're actually taking a picture of. So we'll do that. And then, if you guys see my Instagram video about this, this is the same process I did on that gray. And it worked out perfect. Oh God. So I need a wool pad. Some guys will argue that you don't need a wool pad for 3000 grit. I just do it because anything that 3000 grit doesn't remove, this wool pad is going to do the trick. And I like to use this stuff. This is ACA 510. By far my favorite compound because it actually cuts out sand scratches. I've tried so many different ones, and by far that's the best one. Now we'll switch to the other pad. Put a black one on here. These little quick connects are pretty sweet. A little bit of this is ACA 520. So this is like the number 2 for this system. I will turn my speed down just a click. This will remove any of those wool marks. All the polishing we need to do. Okay, so we'll wipe all this off. And now we're left with a swirl-free, super clean spot that our color camera can scan. And I'll show you kind of a little trick to scanning pearl white that you can use. And I know this little area is a disaster, but I hide my color camera in the case here. This is called a spectrophotometer, right? So this is basically just a color camera. This takes 3 readings, measures color and does its thing. So what we're going to do, and you want to keep this perfectly still. So I always set the 2 feet, see how it's got 4? Set 2 feet down, and then I'll rock it to set the last 2 down. Like that. Here's one shot. You want to be as steady as humanly possible. Okay, so we have our camera reading. Now this, obviously, if you're a DIY person, this is not what you're going to be doing, but if you work in a shop and have a camera, this is what you're going to be doing. What we're going to do first is we're going to search this as a solid. Okay, so if you look on here, it gives us paint type, effect, solid. I'm going to search as a solid first, and I'm going to do a blind search. There's not going to be any color code. It's just kind of pull up basically the best matching. And I'm going to guess that it's going to be a computer generated that's going to be the best, but we'll see. Creamy white Hyundai 0.33, yeah, computer generated. So what we can do is utilize this. I'll make a batch. So we'll make a batch of this. I'm going to just say I'll mix 8 ounces. Okay, finally got our own number, so I'll make that batch. And then we're going to go back. So we have a ground color that we know is going to be damn close. 0.33, like the closer to 0, the better the match. And typically if I see a 0.33, I know that it's going to be super duper close. But I'll click on panel library and I'll take that same sample, right? I'll hit this, I'll hit edit. Now I'm going to search as an effect. Okay, and again, no paint code. I'm going to just search. Okay, so I got 0.74. Okay, I don't like those odds. I don't like 0.7. I want closer than that. What I'm going to do now is I will just look at the paint code, which is PWD, ivory pearl right there. We're gonna go see if we have a chip for it, because what I'll probably do, box 2. What I'll probably do is if the pearl is correct, I will use my ground color that I searched for and this pearl on top. What was that? I don't know why they do that. So the paint code's PWD, but this says JWD. It's freaking silly. And of course, guess what? I don't have a chip for that, do I? Why would I? Box 2, correct? Box 2. JWD standard. Come on, tell me it's hiding in here. It's not. Really? Alright, well, we're just gonna have to... There it is. JWD. So, let's see what this pearl looks like. That looks awfully yellow. See how bad that is? That is god-awful. The pearl, however, looks... in the face, it looks okay. But, oh my goodness, that is terrible. What's the field look like? Darker redder. Yeah, because that's gonna work. I gotta look and see what kind of pearl's in this. Pearl... Okay, so the pearl's gonna work. The pearl is simply 9053. This is not gonna cause it to go super yellow. So, I will make a batch of that. I'll just say 6 ounces just for the spray out purpose, because I will use this. Alright, so essentially let's recap what I did here. I color scanned this color. I searched it as a solid, right? So the way a pearl paint job works is you have a ground color of white that is just straight white. You cannot, well you can, but it's more cost effective to spray these as a 3-stage pearl. Meaning you have your ground white and then you spray a pearl layer on top. If you were to just mix that pearl in order to get the effect, you would have to use so much pearl because the white will just kill that effect, right? So that's why these are sprayed this way. You'll spray down your white and then spray the pearl on top, and then the pearl actually stands out. So what I'm going to do on this particular job is I'm going to make a spray out card. Let me show you what those are. Make a spray out card like this, right? This is metal, but basically I will spray my ground color of white on top of this first. I'm going to come out here, verify that the white shade actually matches, and then, like the previous video, I'm going to mask up areas of this, right? So I'll spray one coat on this and then I'll mask up. I'll spray another coat and then I'll mask up, and that'll leave us with 1, 2, 3, 4. So then when you look at this card and you save this for later, you've got 1 coat of pearl, 2, 3, and 4. All right, so that's kind of the game plan here. Is I'm going to do a letdown panel. I'm going to show you how to do it. If you're doing this at home, this is also a good idea. I know that the cards that you can get from like even Amazon, you can get just cardboard cards or like paper cards. You can buy those, or you can buy a small pack of these metal ones if you're planning to spray a lot of things. But for 3-stage colors or even metallic colors, just to set the pressure correctly, you might want to have spray outs just in your toolbox. You know, you can make a card, hold it up to the card, make sure that you're happy with the color or that it's going to blend, and roll. So let me get these colors mixed up. We're gonna get in the booth, we'll walk through making this letdown panel, and we'll see how this is matching, because obviously that standard was a mile off, but I think we're going to be damn close with this setup. I mean, look how yellow this actually is, right, compared to this white card. So we'll see how this goes. All right, guys, so we have that ground color that I scanned for. Got my card. I also did label this. So I printed out the label for that computer generated formula, and I wrote PWD, camera ground, standard top. So I'm going to use that mid coat from standard on this color. I just got it loaded in the DV1. And we're going to do 2 coats individually. With white, I don't usually spray them wet on wet because I'm not trying to orient anything, I'm just trying to get coverage. So I'll do 2 wet coats on this card, like so, and I'll just blow some air over it, get it to dry. Keep in mind, guys, this is waterborne. If you're doing solvent, it will dry much faster. And I would let that solvent card kind of sit for a little bit before you go and clear coat it. We're just gonna get 2 coats on this, get it dehydrated, and then we'll go check the tone of this white against the vehicle. Okay. Wet coat. I want coverage, right? All I want to see on this card is this brown color, not anything underneath. That's why I'm using a white card so I don't have to seal it. Need it to be dry. See how that's nice and dry now? Now we can check the tone. So let's take this card off of here. We'll go have a look, see where we're at. Hopefully this looks all right. This is a bumper job, so I'm gonna hold it by this edge. Oh yeah. Yeah, see how that tone? The tone is there. We just need the effect now. That's literally what we're after. Yep, tone is there. I'm very, very, very pleased with that tone. So I'm gonna let this continue to dry. I'll show you a little trick. If you're spraying waterborne, this is something that I do every time I make a letdown panel. I did make this. This is not a product that you can buy. You can buy 2 magnets like I did. I wrapped them up in masking tape, and then I taped a couple of these paint sticks. These are just like the bamboo paint sticks that you can get from Sherwin. You can see that I've made a ton of cards because there's a big old piece of Fordite right there. It's just waterborne and solvent and all kinds of stuff just sprayed over the years. And yeah, so I'll leave that on the wall. I'm gonna get this stand. These are just Venturi blowers that we use to dry waterborne. And I will put one of these blowers directly on this card. Because remember, I need to tape on this here pretty soon. So what I'm gonna do, turn these off. Put that on. And I'm gonna just blow some air. I know it's already dehydrated, but this is going to completely dry it so I can tape on it. I'm gonna leave this brown color in this gun. I'm gonna use my other DV1 and spray the mid. So let me go mix that. I'll get some masking paper in here and we'll make a letdown. All right, pearl layer mixed up. I got a piece of masking paper. I'll give you a little trick here. Tape this, if you got a t-shirt on, stick it to your shirt first. The reason being, you take some of that sticky off so you don't tear paint off of your card. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this card upside down, just because I want 4 layers on the bottom, just because there's a hole there. More than likely, I'm not going to need 4 layers of this, but for this demonstration purpose, I will have it. Now, what I'm going to do, set this gun up as if I was going to do my coverage coat, like so. Nozzle angled correctly here. All right, so I am going to do 1 coat, and then we're going to move the thing down. We're going to end up with 4 coats and 4 separate lines, right? It's called a letdown. Do 1. There's 1. I'm going to just blow air on it, try to get it to dry without letting the paper hit it. Force dry. Thankfully, the pearl layer flashes pretty quickly. I also turned the flash cycle on just so I had some heat in here. Okay, so there's 1. Then we're gonna move down. Slowly peel this off. Okay, so you can see the difference. We got 1. We're gonna have 2. And this is just going to step it down. Okay. So now on that initial one, we've got 2 coats, and then right below it, we have a single. And the likelihood of needing those 2 is very unlikely in waterborne, but we have them. And then now I'm going to move it down a little bit further. There's a very high likelihood that we're only going to need a single coat. So I'm going to split this difference in half. So now when I spray this next coat, I will have 1 coat here, 2 coats, 3 coats. That's why it's called a letdown. You can kind of see already the difference. Okay. Get that to flash a little bit. Okay, now all I got to do is take the paper off to do this last one. So we'll just remove this paper completely. And there's a reason why I left this one as like the bigger section, because that's the higher likelihood is I'm only going to need 1. So I want to be able to see that very, very clear. So I'm going to do a coat over the entire card. I'm going to wind my fluid in, back it out 1 turn, drop my pressure. I drop every single pearl. Like I'll drop coat it while the base is still wet. I'm not going to flash this. I want this pearl to land in wet base coat. It just comes out far smoother. I promise you, with 9K especially, it makes a big difference. Okay, so there's my single. Like I said, I'm gonna wind this all the way till it stops. Like that. And then you see that little notch? I'll go 1 turn. All right. Now we're gonna drop this pressure from 20 to 12. There's 12, and I'll drop it. Just like that. And now I'll just kind of dry this card. I'm going to set the blower stand up on it. Get it to completely dehydrate. And then I'm going to spray a coat of uncatalyzed clear like I did the last time. And we can go check versus the vehicle. But now essentially this card has 4 different options, right? I sprayed the ground color, and then now I have 1 coat of pearl, 2 coat of pearl, 3, and 4. I don't know if you can quite see the difference here. Once I get clear coat on and a color light on this, you're going to be able to see the difference. I promise you. But I'm going to let this thing dry before I spray any kind of clear coat on it, because I don't want to ruin this card that I spent my time making. Just blow a light bit of air on it. And I'll come back in probably about 5 to 10 minutes, and I've got uncatalyzed clear up there in that purple gun. I'll spray that on it, and then we'll go outside of the booth and we'll take a look at it. All right, now that is sat long enough with some warm air blowing over it, we're gonna go ahead and spray a quick coat of this uncatalyzed clear. This is not activated, but this is the clear coat that I'm going to use on this job. I know there are some guys that'll say just use wax and grease or panel wipe on it. That's not as accurate as this. I don't like to guess, so I'll just spray a coat of this over it, and I know for a fact that this is going to give me accurate color. So now we can go out here and check how many coats we're going to need to match this. There is one thing that could happen here too. If you did the camera shot how I did it, you may need to cut your pearl layer in half because this might be too strong. I don't know yet. But because that ground color matched so well, this could have pushed it a little bit yellow. We're just looking for an effect, right? So let's see. In this case, I think we're spot on. Like one coat, like I told you, single coat. 2 I think would be a little dark. Ah man, 2 might actually. What do you guys think? What do you think? Do you see those different shades now? I think 2 might be it. 1.5? Yeah, it's right in between 1 and 1. It's right in between 1 and 2. 1 might be a little bit bright. Let me wipe this door off really good. Okay, so I'm gonna polish this just so I can get a super clean little section here. And then we'll take another gander at it. Okay. I would lose my brain if it wasn't attached to my body. I swear to God, I don't know what I just did with my color light. How do I do that? You guys probably see it. It's sitting up here. I know it is. Yeah, it's underneath. Jesus. All right, so take a gander. What do you think? I think 2 coats actually is it. 2 coats has the right effect in the face. So does 1 though. I'm thinking 2. I would rather be a little dark than a little too bright white. I feel like bright white stands out too much. So I'm gonna probably go with 2. All right, so the point of this entire video, when you're spraying pearl white, I know I see this all the time on Facebook groups like the homemade paint booth page and like some other like DIY paint groups. People will post, oh, I've got this car and it'll be an 800J diamond white pearl. If you've never sprayed diamond white sucks. Thankfully in 9K, it actually matches very, very, very well. It's really easy to find color for that situation, but if you're doing that color DIY, you better make a spray out card and you better do it like this, because if you don't, and if you don't replicate how you made this card on the panel that you're painting, it's going to be wildly different. The whole key to pearl white is super consistent. Match how many coats actually matches the vehicle, right? You need to make a letdown card. And yeah, it's really just about being consistent, because I'm sure that you guys have seen pearl white cars driving down the road that are just blotchy as hell and just modeled out. That's because they just sprayed it way too wet, weren't very consistent, didn't really know what they were doing. I see it all the time. Or you'll see a pearl white car with the bumper mismatched a mile off. It all comes back to making spray out cards. People can fight all they want about this. If you don't make a spray out card, it's just, you're not going to be able to verify color. You cannot guarantee that the color matches. Then your customer comes to get the car, they see it, and then everything you worked for went out the window. You know what I mean? Like, it's all about putting your name on something and being proud of it. And that's why I make cards. If it's going to leave this shop and it has my name on it, it's got to actually match. It's got to look good. I don't want to be one of those people that it's like, oh, it'll look better outside. I don't like that. So I really try to spend the time to dial these colors in, make my cards, and verify that everything looks good, make sure all my blends look good, because I don't like having those uncomfortable talks with customers. Like, it's not fun. And I know there's always, oh, bumpers, they just look different. Well, let's go look at the back bumper on this. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. That doesn't look a whole lot different than the quarter panel, right? On either side. Like, it may be slightly redder, but that's a pretty solid match. This match is pretty solid. So again, it's like, I want to make this look as good, if not better, than a factory bumper, right? Like if it matches better, there ain't no harm in that. If it makes the back one look a mile off, that's not my fault. The front end matches, and that was my job. So anyway, I hope you guys learned something from today's video. If you guys have any more questions about pearl whites, letdown panels, I can do a 3-stage red when I get one if you guys would like to see that. And yeah, like links to like the color light tools and products and things that you guys see here on this channel can always be found down in the description of this video. I try to make sure that anything that you see in the video that you're watching now is included down there, because I get comments, emails, things like that all the time. Hey, where can I find this color light or this tool or that tool? So I try to put them down in the description. I'm trying to get really better at that. And yeah, so if you guys enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. Please consider hitting that subscribe, share it with your friends, things like that. I really appreciate it. And yeah, things on this channel have been growing exponentially, and I am eternally grateful to all you guys that consistently come back, comment. John is always one of the first people to comment on here. I really appreciate you, man. I'm gonna actually do you a solid. Down in the description of this video, I'm gonna include his Instagram. He does a lot of spray gun reviews and color tests at home, and it's really awesome just seeing the color, seeing his progression, seeing how his content has grown. And I am eternally grateful for all of the support that you've shown me, especially in this journey on YouTube, because it's a lot of work, man. Like editing and getting these videos out to you guys takes a lot, especially when I'm dealing with 2 little ones at home. It's a second job. Once they go to sleep, then dad's on the couch editing. You know what I mean? My family comes first, but YouTube has allowed me to grow and give me opportunities I never thought possible. So, and again, until next time, guys, I'll catch you later.